So I want to talk today about the hidden teachings of Jesus, specifically his post-resurrection teachings. And I want to explain to you how it is tied directly to the here and now and Project Looking Glass and what is happening with CERN. The document that I am referencing is Pistis Sophia. It is a primary source document of early Christianity. As far as historical documents go, this one rings of authenticity and is different because it is written like a court transcript. It is a verbatim account of the dialogue between Jesus and primarily Mary Magdalene, but he was speaking to all the women, and all the women were involved in this dialogue. But Jesus begins by giving a description of the structure of heaven. He describes 13 aeons, which you can think of as dimensions, 13 dimensions. There are portals in between each of those dimensions, and the dimensions are layered all the way up to the light of lights, the Most High. And he calls this the treasury of light. The treasury of light is like a VIP section only. And the 13 aeons are beneath that. Beneath the 13 aeons is the firmament. Once you pass through the boundary of the firmament, you are now within the confines of time and space. This is where the planetary spheres reside and the zodiac. And there are different sorts of entities at their stations all the way up the line. He describes many different entities that reside within the heavenly spheres and below the firmament, that they have specific tasks and duties. And he describes that these entities can move below their assigned station, but they cannot go above their assigned station. They can't approach closer to the light beyond which the station that they were assigned. So he's telling the story of the entity Sophia, who resides in the 13th aeon. She is a female emanation of the Most High called Wisdom. And you will see her referred to in the Bible, that they refer to a lady wisdom. Solomon refers to her quite a bit. That is Sophia. It is also clear, as Jesus describes the structure of the heavens and the portals and the gatekeepers at these portals, that all of these entities that have emanated from the Most High, they're all flawed, just like humans. They have free will, just like humans. And they have a range of intentions, from good to evil, neutral, everything in between, just like humans. So Sophia is in the 13th aeon, minding her own business. There are other entities in the 13th aeon with her. We'll call those archons. Sophia is different because somehow, some way, she is able to see the light of lights above her. So she recognizes that there is a light of goodness and love above her that is superior to her. And just like any human that desires a relationship with God and to be close and to have God present in their daily life, so too did Sophia desire to be close to that light that she saw and to know it. I'm going to pause here and just briefly mention that the story that Jesus tells of Sophia is very, very different than accounts of Sophia in other Gnostic literature. So just know this as you hear the story of Sophia going forward from here. It may be different than what you have heard elsewhere, because it is different than what you've heard elsewhere. So Sophia somehow is able to commune with the light. She can't go in the region of the treasury of light, but she sees the light and she knows it and she recognizes it. There are other entities in the 13th aeon with her that are hateful and jealous. They do not like that Sophia is able to see the light, because they don't have the ability, and they are jealous. It is also apparent that some of these entities in the 13th aeon with her are aware of the light, but they defy it. And then there are other entities there that are just ignorant. They're not aware of the light. They can't see the light. So they think they're the most high God, because they're ignorant of the light, because they can't see it and they don't know or feel its presence like Sophia does. So these entities, the ringleader of which, and he is the head honcho of the 13th aeon, called Althades, he decides that Sophia needs to be put in her place, because she's communing with the light and he doesn't like it, and he is in defiance against the light. So a trap is set for Sophia in the lower realms, in the realms of chaos. He projects from himself, emanates from himself a false light and places it within the realm of chaos. Another common thread here is these heavenly entities. They are in male and female pairs that can creatively reproduce righteously when they are within their intended pair, when they are functioning with the male and female half in unison. However, some of these beings are going down and they're self-emanating, and then those emanations are self-emanating, and then those emanations are self-emanating. So much like a clone, and you would make a clone of a clone and a clone of a clone, each emanation gets more and more monstrous and weird as these emanations progress. So the beginning of this chain of monstrosity is Althades emanating versions of himself and sending them into the regions below for the purpose of tricking Sophia. So Sophia sees this light, and she believes that is the light of the Most High. that she desires to be close to and to know. And she decides to leave her station to go be close to the light. So she is tricked and deceived, and she falls for it. She falls for the plan, and she tumbles into the depths of chaos, where there is an ambush waiting for her, and she is stripped of her light powers, and she is trapped within the realms of chaos for seemingly for all of eternity. And it wasn't enough that these entities stripped Sophia of her light powers. After that, they proceeded to make fun of her, ridicule her, constantly torment her, where she has to continuously run and hide, run and hide, run and hide to get away from these entities, which at this point, emanation after emanation after emanation, sound very much like demons or fallen angels. So over and over and over and over again, throughout time, she is crying to God, crying to the light of lights to help her, please, and please forgive her for leaving her station. Please come fix this problem. Come take care of my enemies who have trapped me here. And she cries and cries and prays and prays and prays. And the whole time, these other entities are making fun of her for praying, for saying, "You silly delusional fool, God's never going to hear you. He's never going to help you. You're dumb. Give up on your prayer. There is no help coming for you, Sophia." So she continues to pray, and it just so happens that her prayers happen to be a specific number of prayers in a specific format, and across time and space, across dimensions, someone heard her prayer. And I bet you know who heard her prayer. Jesus heard her prayer and proceeds to navigate through the dimensions of time and space, through the heavens, through chaos, to rescue Sophia and restore her to her station. So Jesus begins to describe a great cosmic battle. He describes a battle where they shine their lights to restore order to time and space that has been tampered with, and also to restore order to the universe. Because when he goes to rescue Sophia, he sees that these entities, which have been assigned to specific heavenly stations and have specific duties in managing time, managing fate, managing the portals, and managing how human souls navigate through the afterlife. Some of them have run amok with power, and they have been screwing with the cogwheels of time and screwing with how human souls move through the afterlife, and catching human souls in an endless cycling of energy harvesting and reincarnation, never ending. So when Jesus sees this, of course, besides rescuing Sophia, he's also got to put an end to this and deal with these entities. He goes on to describe light battles with these entities. And it's really, I mean, I say it's a great cosmic battle because it was a great cosmic battle that is happening in present time. I say it was a great cosmic battle, but really he wins it pretty handily. I mean, he describes that his light powers are so bright, and he says they're so much brighter than they ever were on earth. They are so bright now that even the most powerful of these dark entities fall. So they have three responses when, first of all, Jesus shows up in the aeons. He shows up in these dimensional spheres. And they don't know who he is because they've never seen a being be able to penetrate at will through these dimensional layers and navigate these portals. And they have also never seen a being shine so bright. So there are some reactions. Some of these beings immediately fall and bow to him because they recognize that he is superior. Another group of these beings are just in stunned silence, like they freeze. They don't know what to do. They've never seen anything like this before. And then there is another group of beings led by Althades and Adamus, who is an entity called a tyrant. They decide that they are going to resist. So this is where the battle takes place between Jesus and the ones who will not bow a knee to him. And they are taken care of quite handily. He puts them away for good. And then he goes on to describe how the cogwheels of time and space and phase have been meddled with. And they've been meddled with so that these dark entities and the humans that they're working with have been able to conduct their black magic on Earth without interference. So part of his work is to restore how time and space is operating within or below the firmament, the planetary spheres and the zodiacs. So all of these, the inner workings have to be reset, and the entities who are assigned to those stations have to be reset, re-educated, or removed. So this, my friends, is what the convergence is. When the convergence is witnessed, that is the moment that Jesus restores order to the universe and adjusts the cogwheels of time and space to their proper alignment. That is why the convergence is happening, because he is in the heavenly spheres doing that work. And as we know, it is on earth as it is in heaven. I do also want to add a little footnote here. As Jesus is telling this story to the women, he tells the women and the other disciples that you too will need to prepare for these interdimensional travels. I need help in restoring order to the universe. You're going to come with me. And he gives them what is described as vestments of light, light clothing, and crowns of light. And he also gives them a series of codes and ciphers that they are to memorize, because they will need them to move through the portals between the dimensions. So when you think about our knowledge of quantum physics and what is happening on Earth now, it's pretty extraordinary that a primary source document of early Christianity, written in Coptic Greek, touches on all these subjects. Pistis Sophia reads a whole lot like an episode of Star Trek, because it is indeed talking about dimensions and portals and time traveling and hopping from dimension to dimension. Of course, this is not the language that Jesus uses, because he delivered this message 2,000 years ago, and those vocabulary words didn't exist. But if you were interested, I would highly encourage you to check out Pistis Sophia, the Mead translation. It is all over the internet. You can, for free, you can read a PDF or order a paper book. It is a hefty read, and I have really simplified the concepts here for the purposes of just getting the message across. But it is definitely worth a read.